We've seen a couple bamboo corals, or one bamboo coral. And we did another collection on a soft coral. Also a bryozoan we collected, a branching
065,
bryozoan.
that's pretty good to me. What do you think, Nav?
Yeah, I think 065 looks good.
Copy that. And you have quite a bit of tether, pilot.
Copy. Let me go ahead and
So it looks like there's now
put in 20
some more
meters at
sediment drape
065.
on the substrate.
Bridge, this is ROV nav. You'd like another move, please. 20 meters, bearing 065, speed decimal 2 knots.
I think I see something branching. We're now moving towards it.
Maybe a
Good
large,
copy.
large cranite, maybe. I'll get closer. Watch it.
Okay.
We're seeing you, I believe.
And the main difference has to do with whether the fingers are feathery or stiff. Or not the fingers, but the...
And they hold them up in the air like this. Lasers clear.
Chris Mott was saying they get up to 15
Come in.
arms. Lasers off.
This looks like a Brisingid sea star.
Could take my rotator if you want to go
We
plow.
saw a really small one yesterday.
Center on the
This
center
one's
disc.
much bigger. And they could have up
Got
to
it.
15
Coming
arms,
up.
I believe Chris Ma was mentioning the other day when he called in. Looks like he's feeding. Central disc is pointing out.
Yep. Typically we see them with 10 arms usually, but the interesting thing about these sea stars is they're kind of stuck on their, I guess we usually see the sea stars and they're on their oral surface, you know, right side up, I guess you would say. But these are kind of showing us the opposite side. They're kind of upside down with their
Were you like me up or
abmoral
down?
surface stuck to the
I'm
rock
just showing
usually.
that nearest arm.
You
Just
want me
stay
to come
there.
down to see it?
And they're definitely feeding
stay
on
there.
small plankton and other small
for full.
organisms that might get caught on the spines. Can count at least 10 arms on this one.
Okay, video's clear.
That's good. We'll mark one
All right.
Brisingid for this
That's clear.
dive.
Giving you your camera back, pilot. Dropping line up a little. Have you there at 035.
Alright.
And bumping it up for pilot change. So making our way up the foot again. I just got a little bit of ways to go. 2 minutes ago, 20 past 065. About a 45-minute delay. Okay. We had all the swing out. Brand new. Discovery, I believe. You are swinging for like a move back. It was pretty similar. We were going on right now, 20 meters. So you're going to start going back. We just kind of adjusted our bearing. But you might even need to go further report on Sirius. We'll go like a 0.55.
Well, the areas that we did see manganese crust in seems to be pretty sparse again. We were suggesting earlier that since we don't see a lot of manganese crust, it could indicate that this type of rock surface is relatively newer or fresher. I wouldn't say new, maybe fresher, in that it's been recently exposed to seawater sometime in the recent geological history of this area. This would indicate also that potentially, depending on how fresh this rock is, we collected a specimen down a little bit deeper. Depending on how fresh this is, this might be indicative of any
And pilots, just be
tectonic
aware we're going
activity
to
in
start
the area.
feeling that 20-meter move during this transition.
Yeah, copy that.
as a reminder to folks on shore, if you, or scientists on shore, if you are joining us and you have the ability to use the C-Tube version 2 collaborative tools, that would be awesome, because those annotations really help scientists find what they're looking for, if they're looking for corals or sponges. It also helps us make better databases of all the observations we encounter on any specific dive.
Just so you know, during the transition, we're just starting a 20-meter move that Sirius is just going to start feeling now. So you want to push up slope a little bit. Good copy, Bridge. Thank you.
Yep, now I'm looking down about 6.5 degrees in my camera.
Copy that, co-pilot. And we're going 060.
The last move was at 065, but he said we may have to change it a little bit to go upslope there.
Okay.
The main point is to get to the same depth as waypoint 2 and then kind of go sideways up north or south. No preference. Depending on the
Sounds
ship.
good.
A little bit more of debris that seems to be more manganese crusted here. Not even seeing the anemones anymore, though.
Wow, Zubais was at 27.
Wow.
No, it's pretty
I wonder what I
barren
was thinking.
Well, we got
of
a
animals.
rock.
My camera's back at 4 or 5
Wait, it
degrees.
should be less if we have a rock.
And then port bio box is full. What's
We
mine?
have SBF, PO, and PI. So port inner and port outer are taken. Starboard forward is taken. So we have port rock box and both starboard bios.
Oh, on the lower left-hand side, I think I see a shrimp.
Video. Are D2's lights like that for a reason? Kind of skew there.
That's where you, last co-pilot set them up, and they've been lighting pretty good.
Okay, I'll keep them there then.
And they were just keeping an eye on them, make sure they weren't getting close to the surface.
Yep, copy that. Thanks.
Here we go. Pretty large shrimp. Okay, video free to zoom.
Looks like the same shrimp that we just saw.
Yep.
Oh, he's
Another
hiding.
nomadic arsinid. This one is a little bit more active than the previous. Okay. Thanks, pilot.
You're welcome. Got lasers there. Thank you, video.
Full light.
Ideally, if we had unlimited time, it would be awesome to see if we could track this ridge all the way up to the top of the canyon wall to see if it's like this the entire way up. It would be pretty spectacular if it was like this. I would expect it to be somewhat more consolidated somewhere along this wall.
Yeah, watch late. I just sat down, have the geologist describe this rock. Looks kind of odd to me, the white and the brown.
Yeah, it is definitely odd, and we're still waiting on confirmation of, what this is indicative of, but based on what we've seen in our 2 previous dives, we can say that, is that a sea star on the right-hand side?
Let's take a look.
This? Kind of
Maybe,
1
yeah.
o'clock position. It's like a white blotch. It's separate from the rock.
Oh, I see.
Not
Yeah,
sure if
still
it's
a little bit ahead.
stone or
You know,
Video, would you like to go in?
it looks like it has some dimensionality, but
no,
No.
I think it's a rock.
Yeah, it's got a rock.
well, we tried.
Okay, we can go wide.
So far, we've just been seeing 2 worms and maybe a couple of different types of sea stars and holothurians on this wall. But based on what the geologists were saying yesterday, we were looking at a very consolidated feature that didn't have a lot of cracks and the rock was more or less
when was that
uniform in
move put
color.
in? Last one.
The move was put in 1828. It's done.
And
It says it
looking at
finished
what we're seeing today, we
1833,
can
so you guys
say
should
it's
be coming
more or
to
less
an end
the opposite of that.
here in about
Yeah,
10
it's
minutes.
much
or so.
opposite.
Swinging. Pilots at 4-5. Pilots ready. I think we could.
Okay, do you want to
Seems to be
bring
like
it up
a
to like
more
25 or
active
30
area
meters, or do you
today
wanna-
than of yesterday.
You got good visual at the
I think we
50.
do 30.
It's tough to
I don't
gauge
see
considering how much
from
sediment
radar.
cover
Yeah, you
cover
got
there is,
good
but
visual,
where we
do
do
you
have
still
exposed
like 065, or do
carbonate,
you wanna start
Looks like a little to
looks to
port
be pretty
on
yeah,
your
maybe
white
sonar.
and
like
bright and
055
fresh.
or something.
I wonder if this sediment inhibits coating.
Well, actually, there's just a
The iron
gap
manganese.
there, I
Makes
guess.
it- yeah.
Okay.
It's centered.
I'm looking 6-0. How's that?
How about
Sea
how about
cucumber.
6-0?
Usually
like
on
it.
these types of ridges like this, if this was
Yeah, we
try
could.
if
do
we were
2.5.
maybe a few hundred meters shallower,
2.5 or
these would
3.0?
usually be covered with all
Alright,
sorts of
we'll do
encrusting
3.0.
organisms.
Okay, there's
I'll jump ahead
Maybe
if there's any
corals
issues.
as well.
Bridge, RV nav.
But it appears that a lot of this rock
Hey,
is just
Bridge, we'd like to put our ship
friable
move
and
in,
soft.
please. 30 meters at 060, 0.2 knots.
We did
Good
do
copy.
a couple of squeeze tests earlier this morning on some rock samples we were trying to collect, and the material crumbled pretty readily.
Co-pilot, will you bring the swing arm to Tad?
Yeah.
I feel like this is steep enough where
I'm
turning or setting
starting
down
to be
presumes
on the happier side of collecting
sticking
those
out too far.
biological samples earlier in the dive rather than later,
copy that.
because
I agree.
I don't know what we could have collected here if we would have wanted to collect anything.
How's that look?
Looks good, thank you.
I can't even tell what could be a possible geological specimen here, because everything looks to be pretty hard on to the
Here,
wall.
I lined up in your camera.
Yeah.
Consolidated carbonate rocks.
Alright, I'm getting a little stretched out. I'll wait for your move.
This is just a great example of how diverse these habitats are around Puerto Rico, because we are in the same canyon, and on the other side it was pretty much complete, not complete opposite,
So the
but
wind's been pretty steady at
very different.
1920, huh?
This looks like a sea
Yeah, this
cucumber
has
for
been
a
that way
moment,
for
but it's
most of
definitely a rock.
their shift.
Yeah.
It jumped this morning up to
Triangular
20.
rock.
But it,
Kind of
Yeah, I had some
are you
gust
sure?
to
It
24
looks like it's
earlier, so
hanging.
we went up to the bridge to check it out.
Pilot, can we do a snap zoom right to the left of the lasers? There's
Sure.
something, I'm not sure.
Go in video?
Oh, it is
I
a
see
sea
cucumber.
Yeah,
on a rock.
you can get a closer look at this. If you come wide video, I'll land there. We're waiting for Sirius.
Well camouflaged.
Yeah, it's a very brown sea cucumber.
Yeah.
Alright, I'll get rid of lasers.
Okay, video, free to zoom.
Yeah, this is another holothurian. I believe that's like the fourth species of holothurians we've seen today.
Yep. Yeah, this is definitely a new one.
I think we're on its backside.
I'm gonna nickname this one the pig pen. Kind of looks like pig pen from the peanuts. All covered with sediment.
It's definitely smart. Definitely camouflages.
Video's clear.
Okay. All set with that watch lead?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, we can go wide.
Lasers as we go out. Good job. Full wide.
Thank you. Think you're moving yet, co-pilot?
I think so. I'd say, yeah, I think. Pretty sure.
So we, from the multi-beam, we're past the steepest part, correct? If we
Looks
believe
like
it.
So we made out of the 45 degree. Over 38.
Supposedly, yes.
Okay, so it goes 30, 38, 34, 29. Okay.
Yep. 40 over. Yeah.
It almost looks lunar in nature, like a lunar landscape. Just with less holothurians, I guess.
Watch lead pilot.
Yes, pilot.
I was just wondering, we're shallower than yesterday, and there's a pretty high current. Do you have any ideas why there is less life here?
Yeah, we were throwing around a bunch of
Interesting
ideas.
object off to the right.
So we did make a correlation earlier in the dive that, you know, there were some areas that had pretty
Just the coloring on the
intense
rock.
manganese crusting. Those areas tended to have larger attached corals and sponge fauna. And it seems like on the whiter carbonates, the whiter colored rocks, that there's less of that, or none of that. So we suggested that maybe the rock material at this site, the lighter material, is a little bit more unstable or more prone to falling apart and may not provide a good substrate for hard bottom encrusting creatures. We are shallower, so we should expect to see a greater density of organisms, but perhaps the substrate here is a limiting factor for large numbers of attached animals.
I see. That makes sense. Thank you.
Whereas yesterday we had kind of had the opposite problem. We had plenty of really firm
you hear
substrate, but it was too deep.
Yeah, it might be nothing. I don't know if it was music or something. Or yeah.
Should we do more pilot introductions? Again. Copy that, Bridge. Thank you.
You know, one of the other things, pilot, we were talking about was, you know, the rate of sedimentation here is much higher. We are in a canyon and there's a lot of more sediment. You know, we're only 7 miles offshore or so.
Something like that. Yeah. Pretty
And
close.
Pretty close to shore, and that could also be a factor that we haven't fully explored about something that inhibits organisms from growing.
So if they start to grow, they get covered in sediment.
Yeah, or they can't filter that away. Is this
I
rock
think
here?
no, I think it's a sea cucumber. It has a bunch of stuff on them.
Oh yeah, it looks curled. Yeah, maybe.
Looks
Hey,
like it
free to
has
zoom
like
video?
thalassia. Yeah,
You know,
I think
That's
this is a
strange.
different one Doesn't have like the really thick typopodia.
Yep. Yeah, it looks a little bit different. It's
Tilting up.
definitely well camouflaged for this site.
This is the one that was covered in shells yesterday, I think, this species.
Yep.
There's a bunch of thalassia, the seagrass.
Good costume. We're on a roll with animals that are dressed up in their best forms of camouflage this expedition. Between crabs with sponge hats and
all clear video.
And logs being
logs being the shells
homes.
of hermit crabs. Pretty creative.
Yep.
Let's see, cameras at 3.5.
Pilot, this is watch lead.
Go ahead, watch lead.
Would you like to do introductions to the front row?
Sure, we can do that.
Would you like another move though? That one should be coming to.
Yeah, let's do it. We can do it right after the introduction.
Okay, after introductions.
Well, with the extended dive, we have a new set of pilots in the front row. I'm Carl McCletchy, piloting Deep Discover ROV. I'm an engineer with the Global Foundation for Ocean Exploration, or GFOE. On my left,
I'm Andy Lister, and navigator.
Sean Kennison sitting in the co-pilot seat.
And far right, Roland Bryan, video engineer.
In the back row, I'm Emily Narrow in the video clipping chair.
we'll try to find you some interesting things to look at today.
And the pods, looks like terrain might be adjusting the back starboard.
Look at this.
Yeah,
Yeah, look at that hard return
Yeah.
on starboard there.
for me, yeah.
Maybe 7-0.
Yeah, so you should be basically stopped, right? So we can look around a bit.
Yeah, I think I'm stopped.
Yeah.
I'm just going to start rotating a little.
Yeah, I'll keep me in view, but I'll head that way.
Yeah. Let's do 10 degrees.
Yeah, so I'm kind of on this nose here now.
Yeah. That's a good point. I guess we could stay on the nose, too.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see it there. So there's kind of a little
So we
canyon.
could follow this,
Yeah.
or we could, I guess right now I'm almost splitting the difference between the two.
I'll look off this way.
See which one's more interesting.
Yeah.
So if you're
Didn't we
just
used to have
tuning in, we're
another
going to have an
footpad somewhere?
extended dive today
Do you want mine?
by 2 hours. We got off to a late start. Thanks to the ROV pilots and the crew on the ship, we're able to extend this
Looks
dive
pretty similar over there.
until 5:15.
Time right now is about 10 minutes to 3 o'clock local time.
No, it
So
wasn't
that gives
coming
us
from-
another
No, it was
2 hours.
outside the
There's
ship.
ambient noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit over 2 hours.
I don't know why.
Yeah, let's,
a lot
that
of
over there looks pretty much identical. Let's just stay on this one.
We've made a
You like
pretty
060?
fair amount of vertical
No, I think you could
coverage
comes to
today.
port
We
with it.
started at
I'll center
2,413
up on
meters.
it.
We're
Yeah, you're looking at
Follow.
crossing
020.
2150
Oh,
meters
even
right now.
less.
Well, I'm not, I'm kind of driving that way.
Elevation housing.
Put on sonar.
Yeah, during the midwaters, we actually got to see a couple larvations in the houses
Yeah, why
moving
don't
around.
we
It's pretty cool.
So that's
maybe a little bit
4
more,
or 5 for me.
so I'm centered on it. Come a little bit more to port.
Yeah, come in.
Oh, that's perfect.
4045.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you still like 25 meters?
Yeah, let's do that and then see where it goes.
Copy that.
Video quick
Bridge
zoom down here.
RV nav.
I think it's a stick.
We'd like to put in another ship move, please. 25 meters at 040, 0.2 knots.
Yeah, looks like a stick.
Good copy.
Looks like there's a lot of those sea cucumbers. think there's something maybe branching right here.
Kind of at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, 2 o'clock.
Yeah, I see that.
I think it's just seagrass.
Yeah, you want to go in? Oh, yeah.
Wow. Not the first time we've been fooled by seagrass today.
Good catch video.
It's really amazing how much seagrass.
Now,
is
look
on
at how
this
crumbly
bottom.
this is.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm starting to doubt that some of this material is even carbonate because of how friable it is. Or it's
Starting to get a little bit
extremely
out there.
Yeah.
eroded.
Do you think that
I'll
the
stay here
currents
and
could
look
erode
around.
this? Is it possible? I mean, if
Possible.
there's really, I mean, because this is like a channel.
Currents are pretty ripping through here.
Pilot, is the current still strong in this area?
No, it's come down a lot.
Okay.
I heard from the last watch it was from starboard or from the east. But you can see I'm off all thrust. Not really going anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, this morning it was
Is this
insane.
a starfish?
To the north, it was ripping.
Tough to say. Every time I see a little speck of white, it turns out to just be a pebble or something.
Pilot, did you see that speck of white? It's kind of at, it's like towards the middle of the screen. There's sediment, and then there's this.
Oh,
yeah,
down
it's
in the lower
down.
left?
Yeah.
Go check that out.
It's unusual because it's white.
I think I'm starting to move.
Okay. Where did they go?
I was looking for it as it came up. I couldn't see it either, actually.
I saw
I
it.
saw it clearly in your
Yeah.
rail cam. So it was silhouetted.
I feel like they're up.
All right, well, I'll follow. It was definitely on my
Starboard, yeah.
starboard.
Definitely.
Want to fly with a partial zoom?
To the
Sure.
bottom left.
No, I think that's a piece of seagrass. Is that
Okay.
you mean? Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
quite
on the
see
next rock up, maybe.
Okay,
what they mentioned here.
that's good video.
Maybe
Should see it in my minute cams too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think it's up there. See on your minute cams at the top of them. I feel like that might be it.
This right in front of the lasers, slightly left.
Oh, maybe it's under here. That's why.
Oh, that you're right.
See that left of lasers right now?
Yeah, I see that.
It's pretty loose stuff. It's forming all sorts of little
Can I
gravel
go in
and
here video.
small rock shards.
All right, well, it's gone. I'll go over to that
Getting a good
stock
look
you
at this
saw
rock
video.
surface now.
Oh no, look, they're there again. Starboard. What up?
Oh, there's the
Yeah,
branching.
weird. So it's
But it
still
looks
starboard.
like
Yeah,
it
what that
might
is.
be, doesn't look too much alive.
Okay.
Could be hydroids
Oh yeah,
or
there's
maybe
two
a
of them in my stream.
4M.
They're just hanging out there. Okay, video, you can
Thank
go
you,
in.
Rich.
Oh,
Looks like an old hydroid stock.
it's funny. Flying by starboard rail cam is not advisable.
Things a little bit off.
Yeah.
Hydroids. Not even the hydroids want to live here.
Okay, video will go wide and up to
Pretty
these,
bad sign.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh,
There they
are.
are.
There they are.
there.
Singers.
Yeah.
Well, this is a good trend. We saw one a little bit deeper. We saw two
Cool
now.
trench too. Gouge out.
Okay, co-pilot, lasers are clear.
Coming off. Lasers off.
Facing into the current. Oh, there are 3. I thought there were only 2.
Okay, video, free to zoom.
Yep, another 10-armed Vercingeid. This is probably the largest one we've seen so far.
Yeah. It's really well
Should we
decorated.
try the high beams?
Alright.
Would you like those, video?
Sorry, I didn't have my mic open. Sure.
Oh, okay.
Avian's coming on. 3, 2,
Doesn't
1.
seem like it would be able to catch anything with the arms because it's
Yeah, from an anecdote that Chrisma, I remember, told us in the past that they have spines on their arms, and these spines have the ability to trap small crustaceans and or small planktonic organisms, and that's what they can use to basically suspension feed in the flow. Yeah, but I mean, they're beautiful. So these are, again, sea stars, type of sea star, a little more modified than you might be used to with your rocky shoreline sea stars.
there's a
there's
whiter
another
one.
one.
Yeah.
It's not unusual to see these, especially at higher latitudes with several dozen on a rock face. It can actually be very dense, but we haven't seen that sort of behavior or aggregation
Yeah.
behavior.
Coming on. 3, 2,
Yeah, this is the most
Here.
we've seen together
Lasers
in one
on.
spot.
Do you want high beams off the lasers?
3 individuals.
Copy.
There's the lasers.
And there's a request to get
Oh,
a
it's pretty
3-shot.
Very nice.
Okay.
Use as much of the dark background in the view as we can. Keep it full wide.
Do you want lasers off for this?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Lasers coming off.
Fortunately, I can't get any more dark background because there's rocks below me.
Very nice. It's a nice photo with the background contrast.
How's that look, video?
It's good.
Okay.
Can drop down just a little bit.
No, I tried. There's a rock below me. I can tilt down.
Yep. One more. Let's see if we can fill the frame with all 3 of them. Slight tilt down. Okay, video's clear.
Okay. Alright, are the high beams still on?
Yeah, you want them off?
Yes, please.
High beams off, and then I think I'm done moving.
You should be. We
Maybe
should be
about
ready for another one whenever
5, 6 of my camera.
we push out a little bit. Or now.
I'll look out ahead first.
Still looking about 40 degrees for my heading. Looks like slope's definitely off to or more prominent slopes off to starboard.
Oh yeah. Well, if you're done moving, let's,
To the peak?
I guess it's 45 to starboard, so that's kind of far. Which way would we go to kind of go perpendicular to the contours, Nav?
$65.
Okay.
Kind of splits it, I think.
Yeah.
I guess that's the average. I guess that's what high pack
Fuzzy
does.
center, just below
Yeah.
lasers.
Oh yeah.
Probably sponge.
In the lower center portion of the screen, is that a sponge?
Go take a look.
I kind of like what I'm seeing coming up ahead. It looks something a little bit more consolidated as well in terms of rock
Probably
types.
just get it from
Yeah,
here.
you can go in.
Doesn't look like this friable material we've been seeing.
Look at squat lobster.
Squat lobster at the base. And
Coming
I
down.
was thinking this looked like kind of that cloud-shaped sponge we saw earlier, but it has more well-defined oscular now. It kind of looks like a bouquet of sponges, you know, a very thin base and a very...
Well, actually, would you like a better look?
You want a better look at this?
I think there's something in the back. It's another
Okay,
type
I
of
can
shrimp.
get a toe in. Come
Something
out partial
burrowing
video.
there, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a squid. Huh?
Is it a squid or is it a?
Video come out partial.
See the thing there on the left?
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe not a squid. It looks like it has those compound eyes that are a little bit metallic. So I think it was probably not a squid, but rather some other crustacean. But it was definitely burrowing. Maybe an isopod.
Copilot, you can turn to follow me.
Yeah, copy
This
that.
looks definitely more consolidated, though.
Keep you centered.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll start heading that way, if that's the way.
Just looks like there's 2 slopes.
Yeah.
Are
So
we going for the
second level
burrowing
super.
creature?
Okay. Can go in and I'll try to center on it. I've lost it.
Oh. Oh, I can
There it
see
is.
its head. Ah. A weird looking shrimp. Is it a shrimp?
Oh, you know what?
Is this a mantis? Kind of looks like it has some,
Not one that I've seen. I think it's a shrimp because you can see its tail,
yeah.
but it looks dark. The carapace is dark and kind of spiny or hairy.
Ooh, look at the eyes. They're like little and beady.
I guess it could be a mantis. I'm not familiar with mantis shrimps in the deep sea. I've rarely seen them.
Wanna
I've
try
seen
with the
only once
extra
or
lights?
twice.
Yeah?
Okay.
Alright, my lights.
Sure.
Thanks, pilot.
Extra lights coming on. 3, 2, 1.
Okay, should we go down to the sponge?
Yep.
Okay, tilting down. Do you still like those lights, video?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you tilt? Go full screen.
Okay. Squat lobster left, it looks like.
You just hit from our point of view. Video's clear.
Okay.
Lights are clear.
Lasers on, lights are coming off. 3, 2, 1.
Excellent.
Good.
Alright, so where should we go?
So, about 5-5 now, have you centered?
Okay,
Yeah,
there's a
looks
giant cliff. Be cool to see if you rotate right. Even light it up for Sirius.
Yeah.
It's pretty steep.
Oh, wow.
It's a nice view on Sirius, though. You kind of see this is a little bit of an island in the middle of a larger canyon or channel.
Rotating a little bit to starboard.
Okay, so the average was 60, is that right?
Average,
Was about 6'5".
yeah, 6'5", I think, right?
Let me
Okay.
check. Let me check again.
For contours.
6'0".
6'0".
6'0".
Okay, why don't we do a move at 60,
Copy that.
and I'll just kind of fly around this interesting canyon.
Rotating 10
25
degrees
or
port,
30
60.
meters?
Okay. What was that?
25 or 30?
Still not seeing a lot of
do
attached biology,
30.
but it's up to, I remain optimistic about what we could be seeing up here. There's a
Bridge,
lot
RV
more
nav.
iron manganese crust, and the rock seems a little bit less
We'd like to put in a ship move,
friable or
please. 30 meters, 060,
a little bit less
0.2
verbose.
knots.
but
Good
the sediment
copy.
drape here is pretty much as heavy as it has been. There's still a few areas that are exposed, fresher rock surfaces. Pilot is watch lead.
Go ahead, watch lead.
So sometime between now and the end of the dive, I know we have a couple hours still, but we'd like to look for a rock. I know there's not a lot of opportunities to sample rocks, but we'll keep an eye out. But probably before we take off bottom, we want to get at least one more.
Okay, and the whitish with manganese crust, is that,
Yeah, I mean,
is that
I
all
think
there
it's
is?
yeah, it's going to be what we can get. You know, it doesn't have to be anything specific. Doesn't have to be manganese coated or only white.
Okay.
Kind of opportunistically, we're not looking necessarily for something fully in place, but you know, as good as possible.
Sounds good. Video, what's this down there?
Yeah.
Sponge on the stock.
Something white.
Let's take a look.
Holothurian,
Oh,
Yep.
oh, the stock sponge.
stalked sponge.
Deep in there, I can't get too much closer.
That's not one I'm familiar with.
Here, if you come out wide video, I can't put a toe in on the edge here, but I won't be moving around so much. So
Yeah,
that'll
how
help.
far are those extra lights beam down?
High beams?
Yeah.
High beams coming on in 3, 2, 1.
No, they just washed it out.
Yep, come off.
Okay, I've almost got my toe in.
Kill lasers for you.
Okay.
Good.
So this is our first stock sponge for this dive.
Okay, that should be fairly stable.
It's
Can go
really
in
stuck
video?
in there,
It's back soon.
but
Okay.
it is
Coming to port.
it is following the trend we've been seeing, where a lot of these more consolidated rocky surfaces, along with a pretty healthy coating of manganese, tends to yield more and larger attached biology.
Video's clear.
Okay. Can go wide.
I think I see a coral off to the left-hand side in the foreground
oh,
too.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I think I see that. We'll get it from here. I'll need more tether to move closer, but we can get closer in a minute.
That's great.
Okay, video, I'm far away, but let's take a look.
Oh, I can see a node.
Yeah. So the presence of a proteinaceous node of gorgonin would be indicative of a bamboo coral. We saw one very early on in the dive. It had these branches that resembled this.
Starting to move. Okay.
Or something else.
I think that's something else because the polyps are branching a little bit differently.
Was there another coral below this one? Kind of 6 o'clock after you're done with this one?
Yeah, down there.
Back soon.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that might be.
Yeah,
looks
looks
more like
different.
the Candidella we
Okay.
saw earlier.
Well, we're getting more tether. If we want a better look, I can get closer to both of these.
Yeah, I think just
It's more in the distance.
yeah, I think this would be a
Yeah.
good candidate for a
Okay.
better look.
Oh, there's a
Go
bunch
wide.
right here along this.
So this looks like a small canyon within a canyon type of habitat.
It's like a spur and groove formation.
We might end up seeing, well, we'll see how many of these we find here, but this could be a hot spot for channeling nutrition down to the seafloor, like organic particulate carbon material, as well as having abundant, stable, hard substrate. I haven't
Did
seen
you notice it's connected to the, not the carbonate, but the coating?
Yeah. Yeah, we were making that correlation earlier, and it seems to be holding
Okay, video
true.
for the zoom.
I would almost say, too, the water here is actually a little bit clearer. There's not as much heavy particulate matter. There's some. So this looks like it's branching from the looks more like an internodal brancher, but there's one of the branches looks like it could be on the node. It's difficult to tell with the in this kind of 3 dimensions we have. I think generally it's probably branching on the internode, but
Video's clear.
maybe also node
Okay,
variable.
tilt down to this other one.
And this one here, this is very reminiscent of a coral we were seeing much deeper.
Coming to port.
This is a primnoid octocoral, an unbranched primnoid. So sometimes we call these whips or sea whips, but usually it's more accurate to call them unbranched,
Clear?
Okay.
since there are a lot of branching
Can frame up
species
both.
and
I'll see if
genera
you
in
want
this
anything
family.
else. Okay, Watchley, would you like anything else in this position?
I think that we're good.
All right.
I do see some branching right behind this one. I think just along this edge. It's they're kind of on a weird angle.
Yeah, I see a few down there. Video, do you want to go in partial? I will see if there's anything new.
Looks like the same
Bamboos,
bamboos, and this looks like the
Candidella.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, I think we can confirm with that shot.
Scan up as with a partial.
Okay. And we'll have to come out. There's another kind of wall off to my starboard. Take a look at that.
Full wide.
gonna have to tip the hat to get down there.
Thinking the same thing. Ooh.
Video, I guess, should go in on this while it's coming center screen.
Here's an isopod. So this is one of the planktonic isopods, and you could see here's a really nice shot of the bristles along its arms. And you can,
Copy that, thank you.
I'm guessing it uses those to either capture prey or to keep itself in the water column. They probably act as drag. It looks like it's in slow motion. We've been seeing a couple of these having like food items eating in the middle of the water column. They use like the two front to kind of prop the food item in its mouth. It's a great shot because you could see these bristles really nicely.
Okay, video, you happy with that?
Yep.
Just went up out of the lights. Okay, back to the canyon. Front lights are off, correct?
They should be. Yes, they are.
It's like two different sides. One has more coating and the other one doesn't.
Do you think you're about stopped, Copilot?
This is very good looking topography, though. Very optimistic that we'll see more biology as we move upslope here.
Yeah, when did the move end?
The last one was called in about 10 minutes ago, so that
So
move
should be
ended
stopped
maybe
then.
5 minutes. Yeah, you should be stopped.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Keep looking around this canyon, and then we can get another video. Let's do a quick zoom on this stalk here.
This looks like another one of those primnoids, noides, candela.
Yeah, Candidilla.
Yep.
Most
It's like
definitely.
so small, like holdfasts, that you would think that they would just be swept off.
Yep. Yeah, these are much smaller though than the ones we were seeing much deeper, which is kind of strange. I would expect, given the substrate type we were seeing much deeper, that
we can go wide.
They wouldn't be able to grow as big because it seems more prone to disturbance, and the rock was quite friable. But this is interesting.
So right now we are at a depth of 2,119 meters. We started this dive off at 2,400, I believe 13 meters.
You can turn to follow me up the canyon. Maybe tilt up and we can see the whole thing.
Copy that. Tilting a little up, rotating a little port.
It's not a lot of light up there.
Like 4-0 looks to be a good direction though.
It's back to this material again. I thought we were out of it.
Yeah.
Like this little,
Seems to
There's
be.
another one of those sea
Yeah.
stars.
it's like still more slope off to starboard.
Oh yeah, another rescinded.
Scented. Yep.
Or two, maybe.
This is the most we've seen these on one dive.
Quick zoom here video.
Can you tilt down just a little bit? Confirm, is that a Holothurian or sea star?
Holothurian. I believe.
Pink thing and the.
We can take a look after. Let's just do zoom here and then I'll tilt down. It's neat
This
how
is
they
really
make
curled.
a basket kind of.
Yeah. So I wonder if they catch something, then do they have to, I guess they lift themselves up and then use their arms to push it in their mouth, because right now their mouth is facing the rock. So it's
Yeah,
very
I've never seen that type of behavior.
maybe they feed at,
Or they could potentially use their tube feet and move the food particle, whichever it is, to the
to the mouth.
oral side.
Okay, want to go for the sea cucumber?
I think it would be more efficient to use your tube feet.
Okay, free to zoom.
Is it a Holothurian? Slime star, maybe.
Oh yeah, looks like
Oh,
what we
right
saw
there.
yesterday.
I can get closer to this one if there's interest.
Yeah, do the best you can. I don't, I think if we get some, as long as we get an image of it,
Okay. Just to ID.
I think actually, yeah, it is a slime star. Nice little perch.
Yeah. Looks like it has these bristles.
Video's clear with that shot.
Okay, can go wide.
Lasers on.
Thank you, co-pilot.
Very good. Some nice vertical relief here.
Fernando might be in the dry lab. I'm not sure.
Someone's there. I was just gonna get a water break. It's no big deal.
Yeah, I was gonna grab some.
It's hot in here.
All right, where
Only
should we
if you can
go?
take over for both of us.
Should we keep?
Where the dark stuff is.
Yeah, the right-hand side
Video swap it
looks
out.
to be
Look
the
at that. Nice video.
substrate
video.
that seems to yield more biology at the
Right,
moment.
rotate port or starboard.
Yeah, we can head this way.
Keep you in the view. Rotate a little starboard.
You thinking about another move?
Yeah, you're looking. Yeah, you're looking ahead at me.
Yeah. He's clear for another probably 30-meter move if you like.
No, it's pretty interesting terrain. Let's do 20 this way. Keep
Copy
zigzagging.
That. 20
Copy.
meters
It's
at
6-0. I'm looking
6-0?
6-0 right now.
You can actually see
Okay.
Same as
this
before?
looks like a fresh. Oh,
Yeah.
maybe not as
You're
fresh
happy
as
with
we've. Oh, it's fish.
Yeah, 6-0.
Yeah. Okay.
Where do you
Bridge,
see
are we
fish?
nav?
11 o'clock.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Bridge, we're ready for our ship move.
Video quick
20
zoom here.
meters at 060, 0.2 knots.
Okay, hold there. Just debris.
Plastic.
I think it's a sea cucumber
Oh.
with a bunch of stuff on it.
Two of them, one on top, one on the
Yeah.
bottom. I think the bottom one might have some plastic debris.